My earliest memory of COVID probably be just like seeing it on the news, and all of a sudden it was spreading and spreading, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
But I was scrolling through my phone and I was like, it said something about the coronavirus, and then I was like, oh, I didn't really think of anything of it. It was just another virus. Then a couple weeks go by and my teacher was like, yeah, we might be out of school.
My mom was like, this is gonna be bad. And I was a junior in high school and I just thought, no, it's gonna be fine. It's just like the flu. And within a couple of weeks, it was the CDC saying, we need to wear masks. No, you don't need to wear masks. And it was just pretty much chaos at that point.
So back in March, I believe it was the 13th, I remember sitting in my Spanish class and a student was like, can you guys imagine if we, got out of school for a few weeks? And I was like, no way. And then at the end of the day, I had a dentist appointment and I was with my grandma and my parents called me and were like, we're not gonna be in school for a little while. And I just remember feeling shocked. You were kind of relieved at first a little bit because you're like, oh, sweet, like I'm out of school for a little bit. Obviously, we didn't know what that would turn into, but there was a feeling of kind of unsettlement a little bit for me.
Then when it happened, they're like, oh yeah, we'll be out 2 weeks, we'll come back. And then it ended up being a month, and then it was all summer, and then it was online. So it was kind of just like everything went so fast, and you kind of didn't really get time to think about it, and it was just gone before you could even think about it.
We were just about to start up a new quarter, but then we never ended up doing that because of the virus. And so it was just kind of like, oh yay, free time. Like we don't have to go back to school right now. And we get to just enjoy these next couple weeks. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now it's a month. Oh, now it's 2 months. I don't think this is gonna end.
It was just a normal day of school and we wrote all of the things we love about Spokane on the board and all of the crazy things that have happened. And my teacher, he said, this might be your last day. And nobody believed him. We were like, no, it's gonna be fine. And then about 20 minutes after we left, that was the last day. We were told it would just be 2 weeks of no school, just for things to calm down, and then we'd come back. I think my mom told me. She's always kept up to date on all of the news and everything, and she's like, I don't think you're going back. And at that point, I was a little bit devastated because I was like, well, what does that mean for my summer? What does that mean for everything else, for seeing friends, socialization? And from there, it was what's going to happen to my senior year. And I know that a lot of college students as well were kind of feeling that pressure is what's going to happen.
So my parents are Sasha and Brandon DeArmond. My dad is the athletic director at University High School, and my mom is the principal at Ponderosa Elementary. So kind of off the bat, I would say a week into it, I started noticing my parents getting way more stressed out. They were just kind of had to go and get all of their stuff. I remember the night where they were like, we got to go down to our schools and grab all of our things, and that was kind of the night that I realized, wow, like we're not going to be in school for probably the rest of the year. And having an inside look, some kids can say, oh, you're so lucky, but sometimes it can be really scary, and you're like, wow, like I actually see what's going on behind the scenes and how hard our principals and teachers are working during this time and how that affects their mental health and everything like that.
I think that everybody did the best they could. I mean, genuinely. Like, teachers, even though they were struggling technologically, they didn't really, some of them didn't really know how to use Zoom or how to, oh, my microphone's not working and blah, blah, blah. I think they really tried to do the best they could, even through those circumstances. You could tell they were really putting forth an effort, and it makes you feel like, cared for. It was such an unpredictable thing. Nobody knew anything. Nobody could predict anything. And so everybody just tried to do the best they could, and everybody stuck together and tried to help each other.
I thought teachers did a great job adapting. They helped me so much. Just the quick change that they had to make from in-person to Zoom, I can't even imagine how hard that would be. And so they just did so amazing. They would answer any questions.
They always were sending out videos and just all that stuff to just make sure kids were doing the right things and trying to help as much as they could.
I'm gonna go back to Mary Hansen. She always kind of struggled with the computers and stuff. And so she would be like, okay, Avid, I'm gonna kind of use you as my guinea pigs, bear with me. But we would help her figure it out. And so that way she could teach us more smoothly, we can learn smoothly. And she just tried to be as interactive as she could with us because it was hard. We didn't want to be part of it. We're all like laying in bed and like we don't want to turn on our screens or turn on our microphones. And so she just really, okay guys, come on, I know you don't want to do it, but she was very, very encouraging, and she helped, I know, me and a lot of other students in our class to continue through this.
When COVID hit, it was a really, honestly, pretty life-changing. My entire life kind of revolves around school and the social aspects and all the clubs and activities. And my nights, every night would have been filled with different activities. And then when COVID hit, I was at home. And there's some perks to that, but also it's super sad. So I would say I took away that I got to spend more time with my family and relax a little bit, but I really did miss being at school.
We already had tryouts for baseball, so we're trying out and we made the teams and everything, and we got our jamboree in, and we're like, man, we're gonna be really good. Have a state run and everything, and all of a sudden it was gone, and didn't get any sports, and all the seniors were just super disappointed because this was supposed to be our year and everything, and we just didn't even get it. It was pretty difficult because it's like one day we're like, okay, I think we're gonna be going back soon, and it's like we'll be normal, and then all of a sudden it's like, never mind, we're bumping back a phase, and we won't be able to squeeze in like what we thought we'd be able to do. So it was kind of just hard because you just had to take it day by day and just see what new things were gonna come out. When I realized, we're not having fall football, I was kind of like, wow, this is not gonna be a normal year. I had a lot of senior friends, and it was just like I remember them tearing up and crying just because it's like it's not normal. It's like they won't get a senior prom. It's like they won't get a good graduation. And my brother graduated the year that we started, so they had their walk-through graduation. It was just kind of sad to see for him because I mean, you wait your whole school career just waiting for this time, and you get a cool graduation, cool prom, and it's just like it's gone in an instant.
It was a little bit devastating, but I almost saw it as a challenge that I needed to kind of push through and find a way to overcome, because that's how life was going to be, and there's not a lot you can do about it at that point. So I think collaboration was probably the biggest struggle. I'm very extroverted. I like to talk. So that was my biggest thing, is how am I going to get that socialization and collaboration in class next year when we're just online?
When the schools first closed, I remember feeling pretty isolated from my friends, and also students, even if I wasn't super close with them, you still have that interaction every day, and so that was missing, and just not knowing what you're gonna do the next day. Usually I wake up for school and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this class, I have cheer after school or whatever, and so not knowing what you're gonna do the next day is definitely an odd feeling. For me, those things that I'm involved in, cheer, leadership, DECA, those are what make school so fun for me, and also where I get my energy is from those activities, and those are also a huge part of me, so it was like losing a huge part of myself during that time. It was really hard to not be part of a team and not have to work towards something or create new goals for myself, because that's what I was always doing. I was always setting new expectations, and we always were as a team or a club. And so not working towards something was very hard.
I definitely enjoyed not having school for a while because I was picking up hobbies. I was doing lots of paintings at home, and I enjoyed just being able to sleep in. I'm not a morning person. I stay up late at night. The first time it really affected me was when we didn't go back to school. It just kind of all stopped at the same time. I feel like it was just all of a sudden just like everything stopped, and then we were just gone for a really long time, and it was like, well, are we gonna get back to normal life as it is? It was like exciting, because we weren't in school, but then it was like, oh, well, this is going on for a really long time. Like, this isn't a vacation anymore. Like, this is becoming real life. And so it just kind of hit you, and it hit me. And I was like, oh, this isn't so fun anymore. I miss going in person and talking with my friends and having an interactive classroom. I miss, the social interactions and not just logging into Zoom and seeing black screens everywhere and not being able to talk to anybody. That's really important to me, is those social interactions with other people. That's how I learn, and that's how I like being able to speak with my classmates about different subjects. That's how I can thrive in a classroom. And it just got really hard because I was like, well, it's easy to just not log on and sleep in. And there were a lot of times that I did just not log on and just sleep in.
It was pretty difficult, I'm gonna be honest. It was really hard because when when I was a sophomore, we went straight into online. It was not required to do, so it was kind of like, oh, I'm just not gonna do it. But then I get into my junior year, and I was like, oh man, there's some stuff I didn't learn that I should have, and it was just hard. It was really hard because it wasn't like the same face-to-face learning, and it wasn't like interactive learning that I needed.
I went into a really, really bad depression before COVID had hit, and then it just got worsened when I couldn't see my friends or anything. You know, my grandparents for like a month were like, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you're stuck in this house, like grocery store trips, that's it. And so it just made things way worse, and when you're depressed, you're unmotivated, and that just upped my anxiety. So I'm like, I have stacks and stacks of assignments, but it's too much to get done. It's too overwhelming. But I eventually caught up, I think, with the help from especially like Mary Hansen, my Avid teacher. She would always check in on me and ask how I'm doing and, hey, you coming to Avid today, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that really helped me to stay motivated. It's just knowing there was somebody that wanted me there.
I think we were all super afraid. And so you hear rumors that are usually false. So I feel most of the rumors, because at a certain time we didn't know if we were gonna be able to go back after the 2 weeks or not. We were mostly concerned about seeing each other, being involved in school activities, what sports were gonna happen, if band concerts were gonna happen. That was the biggest concern. And also, what are my grades gonna look like? How is the grading system gonna work? That was a really big concern as well.
I think the biggest challenge would have been excess free time in my case, and collaboration. So when school started, I realized I had all of this excess free time because we were online and you got breaks and there wasn't a lot of things you had to do. So instead, I was looking for things to do. I started trying to teach myself French, weightlifting in my basement, just trying to occupy myself. And Mr. Bitts presented me with the opportunity for Stem the Tide. And so that was something that I was like, yes, let's do it. Because one, I wanted to find a way to fill my time, but also I wanted to see it as a new opportunity for more learning and another challenge, which kind of leads into the collaboration aspect of things.
Not going from practice to another activity every night took some adjustment. We were obviously relaxing more, but sometimes it's not the best thing. So it was really hard for me. That was the hardest part, definitely. I did fine with Zoom, but missing out on all my activities, it was a real struggle. Obviously, I have a little bit of an inside look with my parents, and I just thought that they stayed calm and they made sure that people knew what was going on as well, which I think was super important because you have all these parents and families that are just kind of freaking out. And so being there to help them and guide them and say, it's okay, we're gonna do the best for your kid, I think they did awesome with that. It was scary because you didn't know what was coming next. Like, we didn't know if we were gonna be set back or if we were gonna be moved forward. So when we did start to progress from 1 day to 2 days, that was so exciting. And I just remember feeling like, okay, there's hope, we can get through this.
My teachers would just kind of like, we'd have these days where we kind of just talk and just see how we're doing and just making sure we're okay as people before we can go and do the learning. Because if you're not good as a person, like, you're hurt inside, and it's just kind of pointless to be learning if you're not gonna be comprehending anything. It was just hard. It was really hard because it wasn't like the same face-to-face learning, and it wasn't like interactive learning that I needed.
one of my friends really struggled with online learning because sometimes people aren't online learners. That is such a difficult way to learn. It really is. So how we helped our friend was we would give her notes. We would say, hey, I'm in that same class. These are the notes I took. Maybe this can help you with this assignment. Just reaching out in those ways and like collaborating, because we have our phones right at our fingertips. We got one day where we went back at first, and I was on Tuesday, and luckily I had like 4 out of my 5 closest friends with me, so that was really lucky. And then eventually we went to 2 days, and then I believe it was full-time from there. Oh my gosh, it was the best feeling ever because I was like, it gave me hope again. I was like, wow, we're actually starting to get somewhere, and I was able to see all my friends, all my peers, activities were starting back up. It was just super exciting. It was nice, but it was also sad. It was sad seeing students, walk around with masks and not being able to make those interactions. But I was grateful to at least be going back. To keep everyone safe, we had arrows in the hallways, like you had to walk a certain direction. All the drinking fountains were closed. I believe the locker rooms were closed, and obviously our desks were spread 6 feet apart as well. I think the teachers and our administration did a great job of giving us the rules in a really nice way and just saying, hey, we're all in this together. We don't want to have to be doing this, but to keep everyone safe, this is what needs to happen. And I think the students really respected that because I think everyone just wanted to be back. We were going to do anything to be back in building.
It was interesting. It's like, you're like, oh, finally we're gonna go back, and then you'd walk in and it was just like small amounts of kids. Like, I think I had 2 kids in one of my class, so it still wasn't the same, but you could kind of see us working back, and it was kind of cool to see that everything was starting to work back to be normal again. It was really awesome. When I got the news that we're gonna be able to play football again, I was just like, thank you, Lord. Like, it was just great, because just being able to get out there with your friends and it was just great. It was awesome.
Last year was definitely different. I was super excited that we were able to start going back to school and start getting some sense of normalcy. But there was that underlying sense of, okay, we're still in COVID.
I'm hearing rumors that we're gonna be back full time and everyone's gonna be back, and then it was like, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen till later. And it's just like, you get your hopes up, and then it's just like, oh, never mind, we're not doing that. And it's just kind of like everything's changing so fast, and day by day.
Going into my senior year, we weren't sure if it was gonna be normal, but I have had one of the best years I've ever had in high school, and that's with masks, that's with social distancing. So it can be just as fun. We're doing all the spirit activities. I'm learning so much, and I get to see my peers every day. So it's a really great atmosphere. I didn't know if I was gonna ever have that again, because obviously I'll go off to college and have some school pride too, but I only get to experience high school one time in my life, and so I'm so grateful for how my year has gone. I think people are just so excited to be back that it almost enhances that student engagement, which has been so exciting. So that's a really big difference. I think I can speak for myself and a lot of my peers that we're just super grateful, even though it may be a little sporadic at times, we're all trying to figure it out together. So I feel like the student population is super, almost like, we're okay with the chaos. As long as it gets to happen, we'll work with you and we're all in this together.
I think the world will be brought a whole lot closer from all this, because a lot of times you hear if a generation has a shared experience, it brings them a lot closer on that specific topic. So I think this is good because we've been in the generation of cell phones and we've been moving further and further, even though technology-wise we are all connected. And so I think this pandemic was really important for kids my age to realize that we need the social interaction with others, and that we need that to like thrive in life. And it can get so lonely if you don't have that. If you're constantly on your phone, you can text your friends, but that's never going to be the same as being with them. And so I think it's an important lesson to learn, is that we need those social interactions.
My family has always been like a tight family, but with all this stuff, we weren't able to like be a family and be like close. But at the pandemic, we got a trailer and we just decided to go camping, and we just did stuff that we weren't able to do when with that life so busy, and it just slowed everything down. And we're like, all right, it's time to do stuff with the family.
Graduation was super exciting because originally there was only supposed to be 2 tickets for a family member, and we ended up getting 4. So my whole family could come, my dad, my sister, my grandma and grandpa. So it was really nice to have them there, and I felt extremely proud of myself, and I felt like I was making them proud. So it was just an amazing moment, and walking on the stage was really nerve-wracking, and then getting off, my hat ended up falling off, so afterwards I was like, oh no. But it was so surreal, and I was like, wow, I'm actually here, I'm graduating. And one of my best friends from 6th grade, we have a picture together where we're making like an infinity sign with our hands, and we recreated that in our cap and gown. And so it was just amazing. It was like, wow, we're so grown now. If it was virtual, it just would have never been the same. Sometimes I told a lot of people, I was like, I don't really feel like I'm graduating because I've been kind of missing the high school experience the past couple years. And a lot of people were like, yeah, I feel the same.
A big silver lining was to relax. I feel like my family and myself, we're go, go, go all the time. We have an activity every night. We're somewhere every night. We don't eat dinner together a lot of the nights. And if we do, it's probably at like 9 or 10 o'clock. So taking a step back and really taking time for ourselves and relaxing, whether that was reading, watching TV, or going on walks, it really opened my eyes to, wow, I think I need to be doing this more.
Zoom was definitely a big help. I think it was hard for teachers at first to figure out the new technology because they were also presented with challenges that they hadn't had to deal with before. But Zoom, we'd go in breakout rooms, we would share Google Docs, we would FaceTime after school and just find good ways to collaborate to try and make everything work.
I think I learned self-care a lot more, because I'm the type of person to take care of everybody else before I take care of myself. And so I've just always been very caring, especially towards my family, and I've always kind of just had a fear of loss of family. And I think this pandemic really brought me a perspective, like, I'm so busy getting in everybody else's business, constantly trying to help my family with every single little thing. I learned that I'm gonna be gone and they're not gonna need me as much anymore. So I need to start learning to take care of myself and fulfill my needs as well.
Time with family is really important. I kind of got a lot of it because of quarantining and stuff, and at first I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible, like my brothers are gonna get on my nerves so much, but you kind of learn how to spend more time with them and actually enjoy it.
Even through all this, just keep your head up no matter what, and just keep going forward, because life will change and life will come in hiccups, but you can always get through it.
Well, I feel as if COVID actually brought our community together. If we show up for each other, ask each other how we're doing, and relate to each other more, we can keep that unity in many years to come, even hopefully without COVID. I think COVID has shown everyone that we are stronger together. When we can come together and relate to one another and show up for one another, we're a much stronger force. I'm Claire DeArmond. I am a student at University High School, and this is my senior year.
My name's Luke Abshire. I go to Central Valley High School, and I'm an incoming senior.
Hi, my name is Rain Wehrman, and I just graduated from Spokane Valley Tech. And in the fall, I'm going to Montana State University.
I'm Haley Brereton. I was a senior at University High School, and I'm going to Western Washington University.